PNC News First is presented by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza to where it's never been before. Taco Bell, the only place where you live Moss. Colgate, the #1 brand recommended by dentists. And IT&D.
PNC News First, broadcasting live in high definition from Tumon, Guam, on KEQI and KTGM, and on KPPI on Saipan. Here is your PNC News team.
Half a day you're watching PNC's News First. We're live from Broadcast Center Akanta. I'm Roselle Reyes.
And I'm Ayana Shed. Thanks for tuning in. Topping our newscast tonight, new charges have been filed in the case involving the murder of 15-year-old Tamika Nauta. PNC's Jolene Tovez met with the family of the young girl, who shares their feelings about this latest development.
5 months that he confessed, but that's a long time.
Brandon Michael Acosta stands accused of heinously slaying 15-year-old Tamika Nauta 1 year ago. Yesterday, the family received information that DNA evidence indicates Tamika was not just brutally murdered, but she was also raped. Her aunt, Rose Ganji, says the family has always had a feeling that this was the case.
To be honest with you, we had sent, from the beginning, they sent DNA to Hawaii, where the FBI, because we sent everything there. And from my knowledge, okay, I'm not too sure, but I just heard from my sister yesterday that the woman was saying from I think it's the Attorney General, that the FBI said that, yeah, she was raped. To me, deep down there was a feeling about it. I just didn't want to think about it. It's just like something just hit you so hard.
Ganji recalls that morning Tamika was found slain in her home, and unlike reports from then Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Aurelio Espinola, who indicated that the young girl did not require a rape kit test to be done because she was fully clothed, they say that Tamika was found half-dressed with just a top and her undergarments.
Everything that she is, we love her. And for him to say that and say that it was useless to do a rape kit, I could say all the cuss words in the world, but I don't want to.
Her aunt says that at the start of the investigation, she had a lot of unanswered questions, but the feeling that Tamika was raped never fleeted. As she says, Tamika fought for her life. While the autopsy report indicated that Tamika sustained 5 cuts to her hand and face, the family says that she was also discovered, quote, all wet, as if someone was trying to hide the evidence, end quote.
So that's already a given, that is a sign already that something more than her being murdered happened to her. And for this young girl to go through that kind of ordeal is just, you know, it's just very painful to try to think that what she went through on the last day of her life.
Her aunt says only God knows, and while Tamika will never be able to aspire to great things because her life was senselessly taken, Acosta, quote, still lives and gets to breathe, end quote.
But we will not accept for him to be running free, doing whatever he wants. No, not acceptable. And if there truly is a justice system, look at it. Why would you want to defend somebody you already know is guilty? I don't understand that. We relive it every day. It doesn't matter what information comes out. We relive it every day. We think about her every day. Every day. Every second of the day. I know I do. Everything that I'm doing, she's always in my mind. And I'm pretty sure it's in all our family, my family's mind. We see it.
Today, the home that Tamika built with her own hands is no longer standing. Instead, in its place, the family has built a memorial garden to remember Tamika and honor her with what she loved.
This is her spot. Tamika, like I told you, this girl, she's just like jack of all trades. She's the one that built her house. 15 years old, her and her sister. She was up on that roof, nailing down. I helped her a little bit, not that much. But for a 15-year-old to build your own little house, and it was decent, it was really good. I was just so, amazed with her. God is the only one that will truly bring the justice for us. He's the only one that can help us.
While Acosta is behind bars waiting to go to trial, the family says that they believe there are other individuals who may know what happened that fateful night. But for Acosta, the family has these last words.
Just because you say that your demons are, your weights lifted, your weight's not lifted because you still didn't tell us. You didn't say, admit that you raped her. Truly, are you truly repentant about what you did? You can talk, but your actions will speak louder than your words.
Jolene Toves, PNC News.
On July 12th, a superseding indictment was waged against Acosta. He now faces charges of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, second and third-degree criminal sexual conduct, all with a special allegation of possession or use of a deadly weapon. He will be arraigned on the new charges on Wednesday at 2 p.m.
H.R. 1365, which seeks to make technical corrections to the Guam World War II Loyalty Recognition Act so that funds can finally be disbursed for Guam war claims, is set to go to a full House vote next week. Congressman Michael San Nicolas announced that H.R. 1365 passed its markup committee hearing a few weeks ago. He said he is confident that it will eventually be passed by the whole House when it comes up for a vote next week. In a statement sent to media, San Nicolas thanked the House leadership for their support in expeditiously bringing this measure to a vote. San Nicolas pointed out that all of the bills on the markup hearing agenda, H.R. 1365, was the only one that passed unanimously by voice vote, clearing the committee without the need for a recorded vote, which is a sign of full support for Guam's war claims bill. San Nicolas also cited the support of ranking Republican committee member Rob Bishop, as well as the local and national Republican leaders, as a sign that H.R. 1365 has broad bilateral support in Congress.
The request made by Senator James Moylan for the governor to call for a special session in order to address the nearly 700 contractor licenses pending renewals is apparently unnecessary. According to Buddy Orsini, executive director of the Guam Contractors Licensing Board, a quorum within the board has already been met, which addresses the concerns made by Senator James Moylan relative to the potential lack of quorum, which the senator said would detrimentally affect businesses attempting to secure their licenses. However, with Orsini clearing the air of concern on News Talk K57 with Patty Arroyo, the board executive director cites Guam law, which allows the nearly 700 contractors who have applied for license renewals before the June 30th deadline error-free to continue operations while awaiting their renewals.
14 days less before the 30th. So these guys can go ahead and operate.
Right.
So
right.
really, it's not, if you really look at it, it's not necessary, because when that day comes, the board's going to approve most of them.
Okay. Yeah,
You know
I think
mean?
what he's.
So we got 14 days left. We already have a quorum. There's no urgent on it, because the quorum is set for July 30th, which is 13 days from now.
According to Orsini, roughly 97% of those applications meet the requirements that allow them to continue operations until their licenses are renewed. But the same cannot be said for the remaining 3%, whom, according to Orsini, have been red flagged by the board. This means that there are impending cases or complaints made by consumers that require a review by the board. The meeting to approve the over 100 licenses that were submitted after the June 30 deadline has been slated for July 30th.
Another sexual abuse complaint has been filed against the late Father Louis Brouillard, and according to court documents, the victim was abused over the course of 2 to 3 years. Federal court documents reveal that the victim, identified by the initials VM, was 12 years old when the sexual abuse began and lasted for about 3 years. VM served as an altar boy at the San Roque Church in Barrigada. He says that it was during this time that Brouillard would use his authority and position within the church to prey on him. Court documents state that Brouillard would not only force a victim and other victims to undress in front of him, but he would also engage in oral sex and raped VM on, quote, multiple occasions, end quote. As with Brouillard's other victims, VM says he would be taken to the Lonfit River, where they would be sexually assaulted, and that the priest would bribe his targets with fast food and Boy Scout badges. VM is demanding a jury trial and requesting for relief in the amount of $5 million.
With uncertainties over regulating CBD products looming over the heads of local leaders, an informational briefing was held this afternoon with various stakeholder agencies in hopes of clearing the air over the importation, regulation, and sale of CBD products on Guam. PNC's Joycelyn Atelig with more on this story.
It was noted during the informational briefing with representatives from Guam Customs and Quarantine, Public Health and Social Services, and their Environmental Division, the Department of Agriculture, and the Office of the Attorney General that GovGuam does hold the authority to formulate policies to govern CBD products in its entirety, rules and regulations that we know the island needs. However, in the absence of such, local agencies such as Customs and Quarantine and Public Health are forced to make do with existing regulations, one of which was highlighted by DPHSS Director Linda DeNorcy. Labeling requirements, which mirror federal guidelines, are one of the tools that local agencies have access to that will aid in the policing of CBD products as they enter our border. According to Customs and Quarantine Director Ike Paredo and CQA Chief Vincent Perez, such labeling requirements that were presented by Director DeNorcy will provide the guidelines officers need to ensure that products are properly regulated. However, another issue presented itself during the informational briefing. According to Chief Perez, one of the methods practiced by CQA was to conduct presumptive tests for the presence of THC. Tests, he says, that determine the presence but not the quantity of THC in a product, and because they were significantly costly for the agency to keep in their inventory, they are now no longer able to test such products. In addition, the shortage of manpower at CQA is nothing new, but Chief Perez reiterates the detrimental effects of such a shortage on our border security. According to Perez, the agency is aware of the gaps in their inspection process, which require more manpower, resources, and technology in order to address. So as it stands, labeling requirements are one of the only tools used to police the importation and sale of CBD products on Guam. In the meantime, Public Health continues to await feedback from the FDA on the CBD products recently seized and released by CQA. According to Director DeNorcy, who adds that should FDA find them in violation of regulations, then the businesses responsible will be liable to direction from the court, who may release, seize, or destroy the products in question. Joycelyn Atelig, PNC News.
Don't go anywhere. More news after this.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
Welcome back to News First. Earlier today, a bill that aims to reduce the cost of living on the island was discussed by Guam residents on the legislature floor. PNC reporter Amanda Dedicatoria has more.
Various stakeholders from the island's business sector filled the public hearing room of the Guam Congress building to testify on a proposed bill that aims to reduce the current business privilege tax from 5% to 4%. Penned by Senator James Moylan, the intent of Bill 9-35 is to reduce financial difficulties on the residents of the island as a result of last year's legislative decision to increase the business privilege tax to alleviate complications posed by the 2017 Trump tax cuts. According to Joe Arnett, the chairman of the Guam Chamber of Commerce, the passage of the bill could give GovGuam the chance to evaluate its financial structure.
We believe that Bill 935 provides a benchmark for the government of Guam to embrace, as it essentially creates a 9-month timeline for right-sizing to take place. This is an opportunity for our governor to assess finances, improve collections, and take advantage of Public Law 34-87, which provides the governor complete authority to reorganize the government with the intent of saving up to $30 million without legislative authority.
In addition, John Ujoa of NAFA Marianas expressed concerns about consumers not feeling inclined to invest in the local island economy.
The market is survival of the fittest, so businesses will either go under or they'll barely survive, and then consumers will probably be going to internet purchases more versus just buying local. When you're living check to check, you have to find a way to afford what you normally need.
Support for Bill 9-35 resounded throughout the public hearing room, with attendees urging to diversify and enrich the island's economy, rather than penalize residents with invisible regressive taxes. Amanda Dedicatoria, PNC News.
On their last day, students from STEEP showcased their 4-week-long project to the public and surprised many by the finished product. Let's take a look. Last month, PNC paid a visit to GCC's STEEP program. To recall, students from the ages of 14 to 17 partook in this 4-week-long program where they got to learn all about sustainability and develop a solar pergola, providing students with an outdoor hangout spot that also produces renewable energy.
For the 1 month, they continue to surprise me and they continue to make me proud. They were able to finish all their projects, especially this big project, the solar pergola, which is very exciting.
These hands-on learning experience helped shape their future careers in areas such as science, engineering, and architecture. So what are some things that you learned this summer?
I learned how to build a pergola. I learned how to use some computer software called AutoCAD. Learned how to build a drone, how to fly a drone, how to build robots, wind turbines, a lot of technology and stuff like that. GCC was made by AutoCAD with Mr. Zillion here at GCC, and it's a really fun experience to do, especially me wanting to be an architect when I grow up.
Using pre-engineering and pre-architectural software, as well as learning all about the trade through the team at Pacific Solar and Photovoltaics, these students were able to be their own engineers and bring this project to life.
So you can see the solar panels here. So they take photons from sunlight rays, and so that energy that's produced by the photons hitting the solar panels, it converts that into electrical energy. So electrical energy flows through all this wire right here, and it makes its way to this device, which is called a controller. And what the controller does is that it regulates the electrical energy flowing from the solar panels. And so from the controller, the solar energy flows to these two chargers, and they'll be charging all day.
This structure will be utilized for the regular semester students at GCC to charge their phones, laptops, and may even act as a nifty hangout spot. Just in time for the 75th anniversary of Guam's liberation, a new book commemorating the event has been published by the Guam Liberation Day Committee. Here's PNC's Luella Lacinio with a report.
World War II placed the island of Guam under a brutal occupation that lasted 3 years until the U.S. Marines landed in the shores of Asan in 1944. Thousands of soldiers and civilians lost their lives in the battles on Guam and the Pacific Theater. As the survivors of the war carried on with their lives after liberation, they carried with them memories of the hardships and challenges that they experienced during the war. And these memories are what the new book tries to preserve for posterity and for the new generations to come. Sinahanya Mayor Robert Hoffman provides more information about the book.
The Liberation Day Committee decided this year to put together an education component to it. So we got together several people from the community, and they produced collateral material like this, which is the Liberation Commemorative Book. This is 75 years of history, all put into one, all the stories of all the memorials. It has war survivor stories. It has stories about pre-war, life during the war, and the rebuilding efforts. It also has some of the more recent photos of events and stuff. So we're very pleased to present this. This goes and coincides with the Sentimental Journey CD that we've also helped remastered and produced with the Guam War Survivors Foundation. It coincides with the HITA talks that are happening down at the museum and the rebroadcast of several of the parades and events from PBS. So this kind of helps people take a glimpse back of what life was back in the 50th parade and the 50th anniversary and the 40th anniversary, and as far back as PBS could find in terms of parade coverage, they have that all. So we're just pleased to offer this, and it's for sale.
Luella Lucino, PNC News.
Thank you, Luella. At least 25 World War II sites and monuments are featured in the commemorative book. It has world survivor stories, the Pacific World War II timeline, from occupation to liberation, and other significant events. Hoffman said the book is priced at $45. Interested buyers can pick it up at the Guam Museum or the Governor's Office in Adelup.
It is now time to check in with GRMC for Life in Balance.
Life in Balance is brought to you by Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, your good neighbor pharmacies, Simply Food, and Guam Regional Medical City, where patients are partners.
RMC neurosurgeon Dr. David Weingarten recently performed a stereotactic biopsy to determine the nature of an unknown growth on a patient's brain.
He came into the hospital essentially because he couldn't walk anymore, and he had been getting progressively weaker over approximately a month. And upon further investigation, his family said that they thought that he had actually been having some personality changes for possibly upwards of 2 months. So they had been noticing some changes in him, but then he actually started getting weak on his left side. And eventually got to the point where he really couldn't take care of himself and came into the hospital. Once he got a scan of his brain, they called me because he clearly had a large lesion on the right side of his brain that largely occupied the part of the brain that controls motor function, that is your ability to move. And so it was evident that that was what was causing his left-sided weakness. And so the next step in treatment is to say, well, what is this? How do we need to treat it? Is it an infection? Is it an abscess, bacterial or parasitic or otherwise? Or is this a tumor? And if it is a tumor, is it the kind of tumor that responds to chemotherapy, or is it the kind of tumor that responds to radiation? Or is it the kind of tumor that you simply have to cut out? So we chose to do a biopsy. And in terms of biopsies, you can either do them what we call open, meaning we take a large piece of the skull off and actually physically see the tumor with our own eyes, meaning you have to penetrate a fair amount of brain tissue to get to it, or a stereotactic biopsy, which is what we ended up deciding to do.
It's now time for weather.
Hafide, welcome to your local weather forecast. I'm Ayana Shed. An approaching monsoon trough brings in heavy rain and thunderstorms this week. For the rest of the week, expect mostly cloudy and gray skies, and be sure to pack an umbrella before you head out. Motorists are reminded to be alert for brief heavy downpours and to practice caution when driving in these rainy conditions. Tonight, we should be expecting light and variable winds, but daytime winds will increase to about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Temperatures on the island are a bit colder due to the rain, with our highs around 88 degrees and lows at 79. In In addition, a high surf advisory has been issued for the island, with hazardous surf ranging from 8 to 10 feet, surging around south and west-facing reefs. The public is advised to avoid the dangerous waters until conditions subside. And that concludes the forecast. Until tomorrow, have a safe and great evening. Adios!
Hi, I'm Annalyn from Parisville Pharmacy, family owned and operated for over 30 years. At Parisville Pharmacy, we greet everyone with a smile. Come visit us at Parisville, your local good neighbor pharmacy. We are located next to Guam Memorial Hospital.
Half a day. I am Mr. Q from Sagat Almond Pharmacy, located in Agate. We have a full range of medical equipment to help you keep active and healthy. Parisville Pharmacy and Sagat Almond, locally owned, locally operated, locally loved.
In 2018, Community First combined classroom instruction and real-world experience with the launch of Guam's first student-run credit union. Our full-service financial center is open to all and operated by college students like me. Conveniently located near UOG and GCC, Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manila on Route 10. Visit cfirstguam.com for more and download our mobile app on Google Play or the Apple App Store. Federally insured by NCUA.
Half a day sports fans, how you doing? Leo Paimo, your Guam sports guy back. And right off the sports gate, it's the PBA Basketball Legends All-Star Game.
Hello, PBA Legends! Welcome to Guam.
That's right, sports fans, PBA basketball fans. We're at the UOG Cowboy Fieldhouse on Saturday night to watch the PBA Legends All-Star Game between the Ginebra San Miguel and Pure Foods. Fans excited and getting their favorite player's jersey autographed. DJ Dudes from 101.9 doing the introductions. Pure Foods' Bonell Belingit is one of them, as well as Pure Food teammate Jojo Lastimosa, a.k.a. Jolas, Mr. Clutch, the fourth quarter man. Ginebra had Philippine Congressman Robert Jaworski Jr. coaching their All-Stars, along with sharpshooter Vince the Prince Hizan, point guard Bal David as well, nicknamed the Flash, and one of the Philippines' best shooters. They called him the Trigger Man, Alan Kaidik, who holds the record for the most points scored in a single PBA game, 79 points, and the most three-pointers in a game, 17. Let's go to the highlights, and it would be the Trigger Man who scores the first basket of the game. It's gonna be, out of all things, a layup. Ginebra's Bal David now with the ball. He's gonna feed it over to Vince the Prince Hizan on the near side. The Prince nails the tray. Next, it's Ginebra's 6'9" Marlu Aquino. Point guard David finds him underneath for the bucket. They've done that a million times. Now David back to Hizan on the far side. It's another trifecta for him. Pure Foods' Jerry Cordenera now with a assist inside to slasher Rodney Santos. Pure Foods on the scoreboard, point guard David. Now with a quick move inside on his own, Pure Foods. Coming right back, number 44, Cordenera answering with a short jump shot. It's good, but Ginebra's Hizan, the Prince, feeling it. It's a turnaround 17-foot jumper. Another basket for him, nice. And it's back to the Flash, David. Another pretzel move in the paint, and he's not done. David, this time with the pull-up jumper at the free throw line. Man, this guy is good. And when you're hot, you're hot. Ginebra's Vince the Prince with another three-pointer. He would end the night with a total of 9. And then finally a basket from Pure Foods' big guy, 6'9", Bonell Belingit. He's been in the field house before. He gets the basket. But Ginebra's got their own giant, 7'1" E.J. Field, the tallest player ever to play in the PBA. He gets the basket and the foul. The 7-footer going to the charity line. He's going to show everybody that he can hit the free throw, no problemo. Pure Foods' Jojo Lastimosa, Mr. Clutch, from the top of the key. Now, nothing but net for Mr. Jolas. Ginebra running away with this one in the first half. Bal David now from long distance. The shot is going to roll in. Ginebra comes away with the all-star victory with a final score of 116-91. Vince the Prince is on with a game-high 31 points. And that's all the sports for you on this Tuesday for PNC Sports First. I'm Leo Pima, your Guam Sports Guy. Thanks again for watching.
At Pat's Tinting and Detailing, you can liberate your car or truck with the Liberation Auto Detailing Special. A premium 3M wax, deep shampoo, vinyl leather protectant, headlight restoration, and tire shine. Head on down to Pat's Tinting and Detailing today. Located along Marine Corps Drive in Upper Tumon across GTA. Call Pat's at 647-SLAM today.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.